Good morning, beautiful people. We're going to be looking at the distributive property and the process for sorting these out and setting these up so that you'll get them right the majority of the time, hopefully all of the time. That's our goal. So when you look at the distributive property, you have to understand a couple of things. First thing is, the distributive property is a factor that is multiplied by a sum. The quantity in the parentheses is usually two terms, and it's going to be separated by an addition or subtraction sign. The number outside the parentheses is the factor that you're multiplying both items times. So when you look at this, the rule is you multiply the outside number by the first inside number. So that would be like 4 times 4 times x, which would be 4x. And then you multiply the outside number by the second inside number, which means you would then multiply 4 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20. When I look at that, then I'm going to keep the sign. So it's going to be 4x plus 20 because my sign is an addition sign. That's how you would do it. We're going to look at a couple of more involved problems, and we're going to talk about that so that we can kind of narrow down and get the process correct. So when you look at, we're just going to go through a couple. It doesn't matter what order, whether the factor is in the front or the back of the parentheses, but when you do it, you want to sort it out. We're going to show every step as you should be doing, so that we can get it right the first time. When I look at this, to distribute 6 times the quantity of m plus 7, I'm going to multiply 6 times m, plus I'm going to multiply 6 times 7, and when I distribute that, as this is, it's just going to be 6 times m is 6m, plus 6 times 7 is 42, so 6m plus 42, that is your final answer, because 6m is a variable term and 42 is a constant. You can't put those together, so you're done when you get there. When we look at number 2, we have 5y plus 2 times 8. The quantity of 5y plus 2, you're going to do the same thing and multiply the first and the second terms times the number outside. It doesn't matter that this 8 is on the outside. So for the first term, I'm going to do 5y plus, times 8 plus, and then I'm going to do 2 times 8 for that second one. 5y times 8, 5 times 8 is 40, so that would be 40y, bring down the sign, plus 2 times 8 is 16, so that would be 40y plus 16 for your final answer. Now, on the next ones, you have some more involved things that actually have a distribution and some other operations with these terms that are outside of the parentheses. You would solve this just like you would any order of operations problem, but because we have variables, we're going to use the properties of the distributive property where you multiply the outside factor times both values. So in this instance, where we have 3 times the quantity of c plus 5 minus 8 plus 7c, we're going to start with 3 times c. Then plus, and we're going to go to 3 times 5. And I'm just going to bring down the minus 8 plus 7c because we're going to go through and combine those, do the operations for those and then combine the like terms. So we have 3 times c is 3c plus 3 times 5 is 15 minus 8 plus 7c. So I'm left with 4 terms, and when I look, I have a 7c and a 3c that can go together. I'm going to combine those because all the c's go together. So 3c plus 7c is going to be 10c, and then I have the 15 and the 8. This 15 and this 8 are both constants. They can be combined, and 15 minus 8 is 7, and I'm going to keep the sign. So it's going to be 10c plus 7. Now, number 5 is a little more complicated, but if you look at number 5, it's just basically two distributions. If I split that in half, I can do each half and then combine the like terms and be done. So likewise, I will multiply the outside factor times both factors on each one of these. So 2 times n plus 2 times 7, bring down the plus sign, then 6 times 5 plus 6 times 3n. Now I'm going to go ahead and combine those. So 2 times n, I'm using the order of operations, is 2n. Bring down the plus sign. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 6 times 5 is 35, plus 6 times 3n is 18n. Now I've done all of the multiplication. Now I'm going to do the adding and subtracting. Well, I have two kinds of terms. I have n terms and I have constants. So looking at this, I have 2n plus 18n that I'm combining. 18 plus 2 is going to be 20n. Bring down the plus sign because those are all positive. And then I have 35 plus 14. 35 plus 14 is going to be 44. So the final answer would be 20n plus 44. So when you're looking at these and you're sorting these problems out, it doesn't matter how they're laid out. You distribute everything first and you still follow the order of operations to solve them. When you do these problems, you need to make sure that you're bringing everything down and you're showing all your steps so that you do not skip. The most common mistake in this is students forget to multiply the factor times the second value, and that leaves their answer incomplete because you didn't follow all the steps. On number 4, you have a term in front of the parentheses and a term outside the after the parentheses. That doesn't matter. I'm still going to solve it the same way. I'm going to distribute the 4 times 8x plus the 4 times 1, but I'm combining it with this. So I'm not doing anything with the 7 yet, so I just bring that down. 7 plus. The first term is 8x, so that's going to be 4 times 8x, then plus, and then the second term is 1, so 4 times 1, and then minus 2. The next layer, I'm doing the multiplication. Just bring down the 7, plus 4 times 8 is 32, so 4 times 8x is going to be 32x. Bring down the plus, then 4 times 1 is 4, minus 2. Now in this layer, it's just addition and subtraction. So you do the adding and subtracting left to right. I have a 32x, and that's the only x term, so I know that that's going to be the only term that I have. So I'm going to combine the 7 plus 4 minus 2. 7 plus 4 is 11. 11 minus 2 is 9. So that leaves me with a constant of 9 plus the 32x that is left over. And that is how the answer would be. Now, it could also, you could flip it because of the commutative property. It would be the same thing. It could also be 32x plus 9. Both of those are the same equivalent value, okay? So, as you can see, if you go through and you're sorting these out, as long as you do the process and you're following through with multiplying both the first and second inside numbers by the outside number and keeping the signs, and then combining the like terms, you should be able to complete this relatively easily. You've got one more problem on this side, and on the back there are 8 problems. They get progressively more difficult, but as long as you keep up with what you're doing and make sure you're including the variable with the coefficient when you're combining terms, you should be just fine. And that's how you work the distributive property.